From fights breaking out to owners calling it quits, here's a look at some of those times when a simple rescue turned into complete chaos on Bar Rescue.
Never mind, you just sit there like you always do.
Stop. I'm so
Dahlia's Inferno started as a disaster, but quickly spiraled into full-blown chaos. Melissa's drunken behavior was bad enough, but when John stepped in, things only escalated, turning the bar into a total train wreck.
Don't cop out.
No, it is the right decision.
So, good luck.
Melissa's meltdown took things from bad to unbearable. Tears, shock, and pure emotional chaos. She never expected Dahlia to side with John, but when reality hit, the humiliation of being fired in front of everyone made everything even worse.
Is this what y'all brought me in here for?
Yes.
Literally, like, you did this to me. I'm like...
When it was time to discuss her future at the bar, Melissa was caught completely off guard. Getting fired on the spot took the situation from bad to downright brutal.
I am firing you now. And are you supportive of that decision?
I believe so at this time.
Embarrassing, right? By the next day, John had seen enough. He called out Melissa directly, making it clear that her out-of-control behavior wasn't just humiliating, it was sinking the entire bar. She acted like she was in charge, but John was about to give her a harsh reality check.
You have an attitude that this place revolves around you. You pay attention to no rules.
John didn't pull any punches. He ripped into Melissa for her blatant disregard for the rules, calling her one of the most selfish employees he'd ever dealt with. His frustration hit its peak as he laid it out. Her behavior wasn't just humiliating, it was sinking the entire bar.
You're one of the most selfish employees I've ever met. I've never met anyone who says I more than you.
After countless clashes and mounting tension, John forced the issue. He turned to Dahlia and put her on the spot. Did she want Melissa to stay or go? It was a make or break moment that revealed just how much damage Melissa had done. Dahlia hesitated, torn between loyalty and reality. But after everything, the embarrassment had reached its peak, something had to change.
You want me to fire her?
Of course, do you agree with me? She needs to go.
Of course I agree with you. You know that before I got here.
Unreal! She climbed onto the bar, stretched herself out, and started encouraging body shots, turning the place into a complete disaster. What she thought was fun was actually humiliating, and instead of hyping up the crowd, she left customers downright uncomfortable.
Now, she's drunk and they're letting her up on the bar.
What is she doing?
Melissa, if you fall, it's on your own, bitch.
That wasn't even the worst of it. What she did next took the embarrassment, the chaos, and the sheer absurdity to a whole new level. You won't believe how much further things spiraled out of control.
This is actually insane.
Look at my big boobs, guys!
And just when it seemed like things couldn't possibly get worse, the staff made it even messier. They fueled the chaos instead of stopping it. John watched in disbelief as the bar sank further into total embarrassment, pushing his frustration to the edge.
This is how it's really done.
Okay, Melissa, no more shots. No more shots, that's enough.
Even on her break, Melissa's reckless behavior kept escalating. She stumbled outside, still heavily intoxicated, slurring her words as her antics grew wilder and more out of control.
Are you done with your hour break?
Oh, wait. Hold on, I'm about to smoke another cigarette.
Like, are you serious right now?
No, I'm about to literally smoke another
Like,
cigarette.
you can't be taking an hour break.
But just when it seemed like the embarrassment had peaked, Dahlia made it even worse, brushing off the chaos like it was no big deal while the bar collapsed around her. John wasn't just frustrated anymore. He was livid. This wasn't just a failing business, it was a full-scale leadership disaster unfolding before his eyes.
I guess Melissa's still on her break. Shall I go get her or are you gonna go get her? Never mind, you just sit there like you always do.
John had seen his fair share of mismanaged bars, but this was a whole new level of disaster. With drinks spilling and the staff treating the place like their personal party, John knew he had to step in before the chaos spiraled completely out of control.
Hey, where are you going, Melissa?
Take a break.
What do you mean take a break?
Y'all can work, I'm gonna take a break, is what I mean.
John was absolutely losing it as he watched Dahlia stagger around, singing off-key and spilling drinks like it was some out-of-control frat party. Meanwhile, Melissa, barely able to string a sentence together, was behind the bar serving up disasters instead of cocktails. The place was in complete shambles, and John was beyond furious.
You better give me half of that. You hear me? You better give me half of that.
Dahlia, the owner, and Melissa, the bartender, were both completely wasted, stumbling around without a shred of professionalism. Instead of running the bar, they turned it into their personal playground, laughing, causing a scene, and making a total mockery of the place. John Taffer walked into absolute mayhem at Dahlia's Inferno, a bar that had completely lost control. Drinks were spilling, customers were yelling, and the staff was partying like reckless guests instead of doing their jobs.
No more shots tonight.
If you thought Dahlia's Inferno was bad, just wait, because the next bar took failure to a whole new level.
I can't do it.
It's like gooey snot.
When it comes to bar food, you expect something at least edible, right? But this next bar took things from bad to stomach churning, and trust me, it only got worse from there. But now, let's talk about Ciravello's bar in Long Beach, California, a place that took things from bad to downright revolting. Trust me, this one was on another level.
I seen it.
But you served it. So understand you're cooked up.
Yeah, John Taffer walked in expecting a mess, but what he found was so much worse. The bar wasn't just failing, it was serving food so disgusting it was barely recognizable, while the staff acted like it was no big deal. This wasn't just a disaster, it was a full-blown nightmare.
Been struggling with the kitchen, struggling with staff. When we took it over from the last people who've been here, we had to replace it.
In 2015, Danny Harris had big dreams of owning Ciravello's, but without enough money, he brought in 3 investors to make it happen. However, things spiraled out of control fast. The bar was bleeding between $12,000 to $15,000 a month, sinking deeper into debt until it hit a staggering $375,000. It didn't take long for Danny to realize owning a bar was way more than he had ever bargained for.
It's not a secret that we're at about $375,000 in debt.
We came into this as from an investment perspective.
The bar was crumbling and the investors were running out of patience. If things didn't turn around quickly, Ciravello's was done for. But the worst part? The food. The kitchen was a total nightmare and the dishes coming out were beyond disgusting. John Taffer wasn't about to step into Ciravello's unpreparedness. He sent in his wife, Nicole, along with her friend Ashley, to go undercover and see just how bad things really were.
I brought back my wife, Nicole. And I'd asked her to bring a girlfriend of hers, Ashley.
First up, they ordered drinks, an old-fashioned and a whiskey sour. Simple enough, right? Wrong. The drinks showed up looking awful and tasted even worse. Nicole and Ashley could barely take a sip. And unfortunately, that was just the beginning.
That looks disgusting.
That's awful.
Oh my god. Oh, terrible drink.
Desperate to find something decent, Nicole ordered the entire menu. But every dish was a disaster, each one worse than the last, proving the kitchen had completely given up. The food looked old, unappetizing, and downright disgusting.
Look at the grease on my hand, it's leaving. Look at this, it's disgusting.
Ciravello's was worse than John expected, financially sinking, and a total kitchen disaster. The moment he walked in, the mess was undeniable.
I feel like I'm gonna puke.
Well, I don't need to ask you how that was.
John immediately confronted Danny and the staff about the kitchen nightmare. They knew the food was awful, but kept serving it anyway, a red flag John couldn't ignore. This wasn't just bad management, it was a ticking time bomb. And what happened next? Let's just say things went from bad to worse.
I seen it.
But you served it. So understand you're cooked up.
Danny, already under pressure, didn't take John's criticism well. Frustration boiled over, and what did he do next? Let's just say it's something you don't want to miss.
I'm done. I'm not part of the show no more. I'm upset right now and I'm not gonna talk.
Danny was clearly in over his head, and the disgusting food was just a side effect of a much bigger issue, a total lack of leadership and accountability. The next morning, John pulled everyone together to confront the mess from the night before. Val, one of the investors, was furious over Danny's abrupt walkout. John didn't sugarcoat it. If they wanted to turn things around, they had to step up and fix their biggest downfall, the food. With time running out, the pressure was at an all-time high. What happened next? Well, it only got worse.
I was surprised that he left us. That's not him. He's our rock.
Danny finally admitted his failures, vowing to change. But John needed action, not promises. Saving the bar meant fixing the food and stepping up. John enlisted Chef Brendan Collins and mixologist Lisa Marie Joyce to train the staff. Lisa Marie fixed the bartender's cocktails, while Brendan overhauled the kitchen.
Mixing glass, stir, strain it over fresh ice. Garnish with an orange peel.
Ciravello's real issue wasn't just bad food, it was inconsistency. Every dish showed neglect. With Brendan and Lisa Marie stepping in, hope flickered, but was it enough to save the bar?
Consistency is key. Danny, obviously this is your restaurant. Is this something that you're going to be happy to serve to your guests?
I'm 100% for this.
As the bar filled up, the stress test spiraled into chaos. Drinks were late, food went to the wrong tables, and Danny's crew crumbled under pressure. He tried to step in, but was it too late to turn things around?
Justin and Danny, they're taking food to the wrong table. The reality is they don't know what they're doing.
The staff was drowning, and despite Lisa Marie and Brendan's help, disaster loomed. Cold food and unhappy customers made it clear time was running out.
I am shutting this down.
Sorry, everybody, and hope you guys give us another shot. Come back again.
But you know what? This other bar wasn't just struggling with bad service or mismanagement, the place was downright disgusting.
How dare you pick up raw chicken and then pick up cheese with your hands?
What do you get when a bar is drowning in disgusting food, hazardous conditions, and an owner who's totally checked out? A full-blown catastrophe. In this episode, John Taffer steps into pure madness, tackling one of his toughest rescues yet. Strap in. This one's a wild ride. In 2009, Keith Murphy and Joel Gallant dove into the bar business with no experience, assuming it'd be a breeze. At first, they struck gold. J.A. Murphy's was packed, raking in cash. But success didn't last. The bar spun into chaos, turning their dream into a full-blown disaster.
Over time, the cheap drinks led to a business based on excess, not profits.
As time passed, Keith and Joel lost control. The bar became a filthy wreck, the food was inedible, and staff frustrations boiled over, with Joel facing accusations of mistreatment. Their once thriving hotspot had crumbled into a neglected disaster.
Joel, in one word, it would be cold. He's a very cold, just non-people person.
Things went from bad to worse. The bar was losing money fast, and a major incident sent loyal customers running. Keith and Joel were desperate to stay afloat, but the real problem? It was closer to home than they ever expected.
Joel forced Murphy's manager, Marka, to quit and start her own bar right around the corner.
In the heart of Fells Point, Maryland, a lively waterfront packed with over 120 bars, J.A. Murphy's wasn't making a name for itself in the way it hoped. Instead of drawing crowds, it was driving them away, and locals had plenty to say about why.
If you want to have a successful bar in Fells Point, you better stand out.
For this rescue, John wasn't going in alone.
We got the nachos, just a big sloppy pile of grease. I was terribly sick in the morning. They got him sick.
Going through surveillance footage and online reviews, the warnings were loud and clear. Customers slammed the bar for its awful food, unbearable stench, and even rumors of food poisoning. But nothing could prepare them for the nightmare waiting inside. The moment Sam walked in, she was slapped with a stench so foul she called it the worst she'd ever smelled. To make things worse, the bar had no beer or liquor, pretty unbelievable for a place that's supposed to serve drinks.
First impression when I walked in, I've never seen something as filthy and disgusting. And the smell in this bar was gross.
Inside, the chaos was unreal. The staff treated binge drinking like a sport, and the kitchen, a total nightmare. The cook ignored even the most basic hygiene, making it clear John didn't have a choice. He had to step in.
1, 2, 3.
When John confronted Keith and Joel, things got heated.
Tammy, I watched you pick up raw chicken all night in your hand and then touch cooked food.
Keith tried to push back, brushing off John's concerns, but John wasn't letting it slide. He didn't just call out the problems, he took action. What came next? You'll have to see for yourself.
That food, throw it away. Throw it all away. Shut it down. Nobody eats.
To fix J.A. Murphy's, John called in reinforcements. Flair mixologist Chris Cardone, an award-winning bartender from New York, was ready to turn the bar's chaos into cocktails that could actually impress. When Chris arrived, he immediately noticed that the bar was filthy. Chris couldn't even start training until the place was cleaned up.
You see the maggots that are actually underneath that bar? There's maggots under there. Maggots.
In the kitchen, John enlisted Chef Brian Duffy to get a handle on the disaster. What he discovered was enough to make anyone cringe.
Did you know you had mouse trappings in here? This is the inside of your hood system. Oh.
But wait, things kept getting worse. As if things weren't bad enough, John's inspector discovered something even more concerning.
I was downstairs. The beam down there is rotted. You can stick your finger.
Can you believe it? The building itself was falling apart. The basement beams were rotting, and you could stick your fingers right through them. This wasn't just a gross bar anymore, it was a safety hazard. This wasn't just a failing bar, it was a ticking time bomb of filth and failure. And trust me, you won't believe what John uncovered next.
Are you joking me, Tim?
This is what you wanted.
John had seen chaos before, but the Brixton took it to another level. This wasn't just a failing bar, it was a ticking time bomb. And when it finally exploded, no one was ready for the fallout. The Brixton wasn't just in trouble, it was a disaster waiting to happen. With clueless owners and a bar in shambles, John Taffer didn't hold back. What followed was one of the most brutal wake-up calls in bar rescue history.
I don't like frat boys, tourists, college students.
What's up?
From the moment John Taffer stepped into the Brixton, it was clear he was furious.
It's got to look like a destination from the outside to pull you in, but it doesn't. And then it's got to provide a destination experience.
The bar was a wreck, filthy, outdated, and downright depressing. It wasn't the kind of dive people wanted to be in.
He grabbed some Chinday-old lime juice and threw it in there. It was the
Hey, this is kind of gnarly, dude.
You ordered it.
Inside, the bartenders were more focused on chatting and goofing off than actually working. The drinks were awful, the service was painfully slow, and the entire place was pure chaos.
Inside voices, please.
Look at this guy.
Chill out or get out.
Watching from his command center, Taffer's frustration hit its peak. He was seconds away from blowing up.
From what I can see, Tim is not a very nice guy. He insults customers who order premium drinks.
When Taffer finally stormed in, it was like a volcano exploding, unstoppable and fiery.
Seen enough? Okay.
a belligerent owner, insulting his customers. It's all wrong, and it's time for me to go in and do my work.
The bar went from a playground to a panic zone in seconds. One moment, the staff was goofing off, and the next, they froze like deer in headlights as Taffer stormed in.
Hi.
Taffer tore into them, calling out every failure. The owner, nowhere to be found when it mattered most. But that was just the first red flag. The real shocker was yet to come.
Do you think it's funny that you don't know how to make any of the drinks that you've been on your board for a year?
I know how to. Are you going to use your inside voice? You're bumming me out, man.
Good, I want to.
The bar was hanging by a thread, not just from bad management, but because of one bartender who refused to change. But that wasn't all.
So let's go sit down and talk. I want to get some history and understand what's going on here.
His personal drama with his wife was spilling over into the business, making everything worse. This guy couldn't get it together at home or at work, and it was pushing John Taffer to his limits. When Taffer walked in, the tension between the bartender and his wife was impossible to ignore.
What are you doing? You open the doors, you stand here and you pray every day.
Instead of teaming up to fix the failing bar, they were tearing each other apart, adding more stress to an already sinking ship. It was clear this was a partnership on the brink of disaster. As the episode played out, it became clear that the bartender's refusal to change was about more than just the bar, it was destroying his relationship with his wife.
I'm smiling.
Smiling doesn't make money. Drinks make money.
Stop talking to me.
Get out of the bar. You can't handle it.
He shut down every idea she had, acting like she didn't know a thing. His pride wasn't just ruining their marriage, it was dragging the entire bar down with it. Taffer was at his breaking point. He saw how the bartender's personal issues were bleeding into the business, and it was frustrating him.
Let's go ahead and fix that drink. You're yelling at me.
One thing I asked them not to do is no fighting behind the bar tonight.
This wasn't just a bar in trouble, it was a man too proud to admit he needed help, whether from his wife, his staff, or Taffer. Can you believe that? He was so caught up in his own frustration that he completely shut his wife down. Unreal, right?
You didn't yell at either of the girls when they weren't keeping up with you.
They saved your dude.
The tension was suffocating, and Taffer was at his limit. The Brixton had potential, but as long as the bartender kept clashing with his wife, progress was dead in the water. Taffer was a ticking time bomb, pacing furiously, trying to hold back. But when he finally snapped, let's just say, it was unforgettable.
Determine, what do I do with the brand? When people say that there's an owner who is a
The breaking point came when Taffer suggested rebranding the Brixton. He knew it needed a fresh start, a new name, and a whole new identity. But the bartender...
Stop right there, John. I know where you're getting at. We're not changing the name.
He resisted every step of the way. He clung to the name like it was his lifeline, unwilling to even entertain Taffer's advice. Can you believe that? He was ready to let the bar fail just to hold on to a name that wasn't working anymore. Unbelievable, right? Wait until you see what he did next.
Nice middle finger right there.
Are you joking me, Tim?
Can you freaking believe that? It wasn't just the name causing problems. Taffer brought in experts to train the staff and improve the bar's offerings. But do you know what? The bartender kept resisting. Taffer had seen stubborn owners before, but this was next level. This guy wasn't just resisting change, he was tearing down every chance at success. And when Taffer caught on, let's just say things got explosive.
Take your husband aside and talk to him and see if he can be a man, not a little boy.
Every time she stepped in to support Taffer's suggestions, he cut her off, dismissed her, or flat out ignored her. It wasn't just a failing business, it was a power struggle, and Taffer had had enough.
Out of line. I'm already there. I'm already mentally ready to change the name, to commit, doing something different, bring more people in.
Yes, shutting her down and refusing to listen. Can you believe that? In Tears for Beers, Taffer faced one of the filthiest bars ever, inside and out. The stubborn bartender wasn't just sinking the business, but his marriage too, refusing to change or learn. Unbelievable. But hold on, because nothing screams disaster more than this next bar.
She's hitting her. Stop, what are you doing?
And just when you think you've seen it all, along comes a full-blown disaster that drove John Taffer straight to his breaking point. When Taffer arrived at O'Face Bar, the rundown exterior and lifeless atmosphere said it all. This place was a disaster. Hard to believe it was even a real business.
What is the word that comes to mind when you look at that?
Trailer.
Trailer.
The outside of the bar painted a picture full of mystery, leaving more questions than answers. It looked worn out, as if its prime was long gone, yet there was something oddly curious about what could be lurking beyond those doors. Absolutely puzzling.
It's the worst trailer I've ever seen.
Stepping inside, the vibe was unforgettable, but for all the wrong reasons. It made you stop, look around, and wonder, what did I just walk into?
Hey Dave, what kind of bar bartender do we
Look at
have?
this, Russ.
Karen is sitting at the end of the bar, ringing a bell for drinks.
Amanda, are the hot sauce stocked out there?
There's Vanessa.
Here! here, you big dummy.
What really caught Taffer's eye was the staff, or rather, their complete lack of professionalism. They weren't just slacking off, they were partying like it was their job. And the worst part, owner Matt was right there with them, making you wonder if he even knew what leadership meant.
No, there's no business really going on.
They're in debt $260,000.
Seriously, can you believe it? The owner himself was throwing back drinks with his staff while the bar crumbled right before their eyes. Absolutely mind-blowing.
They run it like their own personal party bar.
Boy, he means police.
Oh, you're slow.
That's the reputation of this.
Taffer brought in 2 recon experts to see the disaster up close for themselves. As soon as they stepped inside, they were hit with the same uncomfortable, off-putting atmosphere that had already raised red flags for Taffer. When they finally got the bartender's attention and placed their orders, it was clear customer service wasn't a priority. But the real letdown? The drinks. Weak, poorly made, and downright disappointing.
We got an orgasm for a shot. They were definitely not good.
Then, out of nowhere, one of the servers, clearly not in the right state, did something so outrageous that it left everyone speechless. It was the kind of moment that made you question if this place was even a real business.
She's our shot girl. I'm told for every shot she sells, she takes one.
You guys gonna buy me one?
Just when it seemed like things couldn't get any worse, Taffer's team spotted something that set off major alarms. In a place where cleanliness and customer service should have been non-negotiable, they were cutting corners in ways no one could have imagined. Completely shocking.
We've been noticing they've been reusing those little plastic cups, too, for the shots.
As the night dragged on, the bar slipped deeper into mayhem. The bartender began crafting flaming drinks, but his technique was so reckless it was bordering on dangerous. This wasn't just reckless, it was a disaster waiting to happen. One slip, one miscalculation, and the whole place could have gone up in flames. How had they let it get this far? Then, things took an even wilder turn. After the fire stunt, the staff, along with the owner, kept the night going in a way that raised serious questions. The vibe quickly changed, growing more chaotic and unpredictable with every passing minute.
Let's take another shot.
You guys ready for a shot?
It was unreal. Rather than managing a business, they were treating it like their personal party spot. With zero accountability and chaos running the show, it was no surprise the bar was circling the drain. Oh, Face Bar was crashing hard, and it was no mystery why. The owner partied instead of managing, the staff followed suit, and customers bailed due to terrible service, weak drinks, and a dreadful atmosphere. Unbelievable.
They're in the cooler taking shots. Wow.
As the night reached its climax, an unthinkable event unfolded. The owner and staff made a jaw-dropping decision that stunned everyone. Their actions only added fuel to the already raging chaos, sending things spiraling in an unpredictable direction.
Every employee has left the bar.
In a wild turn, customers started making their own drinks, plunging the bar into total chaos. But hold on, it gets crazier. At one point, they whipped up this mystery shot, and the customers were so hesitant, they outright refused to touch it.
I'm not gonna tell you what's in it. It's our signature shot.
I'm not taking it until I know what's in it.
Then don't take it. I'm not telling you.
Curiosity got the better of the customers, but the owner's reaction only added to the confusion. It was a non-stop series of surprises, and it was clear that things were spiraling in a direction no one could have foreseen.
I'm not gonna tell you what's in it. Are you kidding me?
Then, all hell broke loose. The staff erupted into screaming matches, tensions flaring so fast it looked like a brawl was imminent. The bar had completely lost control. John Taffer watched in disbelief, but trust me, what happened next took things to a whole new level.
We don't tell
I don't know. What are you doing? Hey, stop talking.
The tension boiled over when the server and manager took their fight outside, turning it into a full-blown spectacle. No one saw it coming, and as things spiraled, John had to jump in, scrambling to get control before it went completely off the rails.
So Amanda, the manager, and Sarissa, the shot girl, are arguing.
Oh, we gotta fight.
But even after that, the manager had the audacity to disrespect John. Can you believe it? There he was, trying to step in and fix things, and she just brushed him off like he was nothing.
You're the manager of this bar. How dare you disrespect that girl?
God.
And just like that, chaos erupted. The owner's daughter, who was also the manager, went after an employee right in front of everyone. John lost it. Furious, he tore into the owners, but instead of taking responsibility, they had the audacity to argue back. Unbelievable.
This bar, get him out here now. Is this your manager?
This wasn't just a bar in trouble, it was a disaster waiting to happen, and John Taffer had no choice but to step back before it completely blew up.
Fire her ass! If she's here tomorrow, I'm not.
But just wait, because things take an even wilder turn when Taffer decided to go head-to-head with the owner of this next bar.
It's not. So you keep your language down with me. I'm the next. No.
The tension skyrocketed, turning what should have been a rescue mission into an all-out war. John Taffer pulled up in his SUV, and you could tell he already knew this place was a disaster waiting to happen.
I'm not having a sense of comfort.
They got some work to do on the outside to communicate their identity.
The George and Dragon was drowning in debt, yet the owner acted like nothing was wrong, and the worst part, this wasn't just any ordinary bar.
He's in debt $700,000. He's losing $5,000 a month.
He's gambling with his mother's legacy.
Yes, it was his mother's legacy, a business she had poured her heart and soul into. Rather than stepping up to save his bar, the owner's behavior only made things go from bad to worse.
So while this is all going on, Dave is oblivious. He's just playing poker.
He's still drinking, though, enjoying himself.
While the bar was crumbling, he was busy doing something that would leave you speechless.
Oh, boy. That's months and months and months of grime that's just never been cleaned.
As if the bar's condition wasn't bad enough, John stumbled upon something that sent his frustration through the roof.
It looked like poker night tonight. Well, yeah, we have a poker on Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday.
What he uncovered about the owner's actions took things from bad to an absolute disaster. Hard to believe anyone could let it spiral this far.
Seekers, this is obviously your choice because it makes no sense for the business.
John's frustration hit its peak when he uncovered the truth. There was no way he was letting this disaster slide.
Well, I think you're crazy. Let's go look at your kitchen.
John didn't hold back. He immediately confronted the owner, demanding answers for abandoning his failing bar to play poker. Unreal, right? As the tension skyrocketed, the conversation quickly spiraled into a full-blown showdown.
Leaking fryer.
Is this 1 day's worth of leaking?
Yes.
So did you know this?
From the moment John walked in, the tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. This wasn't just a struggling bar, it was a disaster waiting to erupt. The chaos at George and Dragon was obvious, but the real nightmare? That was still brewing beneath the surface, making you question just how much worse things could actually get.
Look at this stove!
Is there any food on there?
You have a flame and you have grease. Fire hazard!
John never holds back, and the moment he stepped in, it was clear he wasn't here to play nice. The tension was suffocating as he started grilling the owner, and things escalated fast. Every revelation just made the situation worse, and the owner? He wasn't about to back down. What happened next? Let's just say it was pure chaos.
This is your life. This is your future. This is your mother's legacy.
This dude was actually standing there trying to justify the mess his bar was in, like John wasn't seeing it with his own eyes. John and the owner were locked in a heated showdown, the air so tense it felt like the whole place could explode. John held nothing back, laying into the owner for the disaster unfolding before him. But just when it seemed like things couldn't get any worse, the owner's reaction took everything to a whole new level.
Ready? Don't get me started. Watch my lips. I was told this was cleaned every single day.
So you're an idiot for believing it. You understand now?
The owner tried to push back, but it was clear he was crumbling under the pressure. John was hitting him with brutal honesty, each word landing like a knockout punch. The tension kept building, and you could feel the breaking point creeping closer. It was absolute mayhem.
I was $690,000 in debt and didn't look. I would be an idiot.
The owner grasped at straws, desperately trying to justify his failures, but John wasn't letting him off the hook. Every excuse was met with a brutal reality check, and with each passing second, the pressure mounted. John wasn't backing down, he was forcing the owner to face the ugly truth. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, the situation took a turn no one saw coming.
It's not every single day. You know what it's inside?
What are you, a heart meter? Hey, this your pop?
The owner grew more and more agitated, his voice getting louder as he tried to resist John's relentless questions. But John wasn't backing down, and then everything unraveled. The owner snapped, shouting and dodging blame, but John wasn't backing down. The tension hit its peak, John's stare went ice cold, and in that moment, you just knew. This wasn't just bad, it was about to get so much worse.
Don't get me started.
I am simply asking you a
The tension at George and Dragon reached a boiling point when the owner, already overwhelmed by debt and stress, began taking out his frustration on the chef.
Is this your pub? No, it's not. So you keep your language down.
In a burst of rage, he turned on the chef, yelling at the one person actually trying to do their job. Unbelievable. The owner erupted, throwing insults at the only person trying to fix the mess. His misdirected rage sent an already chaotic situation spiraling even further.
hire people to do then you don't manage them? No. So you burn your money. Go back to the poker table.
Oh wow, the audacity. But John wasn't about to let this slide. If anything, he was getting even more fired up.
You see, the thing is, you're not gambling with your money. You're gambling with your mother's legacy. Pretty much. And that's why that pisses me off. Good job.
John went all in, tearing into the owner with brutal honesty. Struggling to defend himself, the owner was clearly cracking under the pressure, but John wasn't about to let up.
Suggest I'm not taking care of business properly.
How do you be in the business for 21 years and not know anything.
As the argument hit its boiling point, John was visibly fed up with the owner's dismissive attitude and complete refusal to take responsibility. Every excuse the owner made was like fuel to the fire. John was already fired up, and this just pushed him further over the edge.
I'm saying right now, this should have been cleaned every day. It's not clean, and you're right, I should be keeping on top of this, but I'm not.
The bar was a disaster. The issues kept piling up, and the owner refused to face reality. John was at his breaking point, something had to give, but the real question was, who would crack first?
I can't help you, buddy. You clean your frickin' kitchen and I'll come back.
John reached a point where he couldn't take it anymore and decided to step away, leaving the owner speechless.
This is your call, not mine.
John had seen enough. Without another word, he turned and walked out, leaving the owner alone with the wreckage of his own making. The filth, the debt, the chaos, none of it compared to the real problem, the owner's refusal to take responsibility. And until that changed, John wasn't coming back.
I'm serious. Everyone can get the out. The show.
For now, the rescue was off the table, and the future of George and Dragon hung in the balance.
I pretty much got my ass chewed out, and I gave how I feel, and maybe I hired the wrong people, but I'm not an idiot.
And well, you know the drill. If you liked the video, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And if you thought this video was crazy, then make sure to check out the next video right here. It's even better.
I just want Gordon to take a long